Deni Avdija, a kid who almost never played basketball.
31, 9 assists, and 10 rebounds a game.
Back to Avdija. The face-up on Bridges. Score! A three-pointer. Avdija nails it.
Fell 4 spots on draft night, spent 4 years invisible in Washington, served in the military, and then became the first player from his entire country to ever make an NBA All-Star game.
Siakam and Avdija and Deni will detonate at the rim.
Most people think they know this story. They don't. These are the 21 things you definitely didn't know about Deni Avdija. Number 21. He almost never played basketball. Before any of this, before the NBA, before the All-Star game, before any of it, Deni Avdija was a soccer player. He grew up in Israel kicking a ball around. Basketball wasn't even part of the picture. It wasn't until the 4th grade that a childhood friend looked at how tall Deni was getting and told him he should be on a basketball court instead. One conversation, one redirect, and everything that came after only exists because of that moment. But where those instincts actually came from, that's number 20. Number 20, basketball runs in his blood. Deni's father, Zufer Avdija, played professional basketball for the Yugoslavia national team. His mother, Sharon, was both a track and field athlete and a basketball player. He didn't stumble into this sport. The foundation was already there before he ever touched a ball. But even with that background behind him, what he did at 16 years old is something most professional athletes never accomplish in an entire career. Number 19, he turned pro at 16. At 16 years and 320 days old, Deni Avdija made his professional debut for Maccabi Tel Aviv's senior team, the youngest player in the club's history to ever do it. Maccabi Tel Aviv is not a small operation. It is one of the most respected clubs in European basketball. He was a teenager playing against grown professional men, and he belonged there. But what he did over the 3 years that followed was even more remarkable. Number 18. He swept Israel's entire youth scene. From 2017 to 2019, Deni led Maccabi Tel Aviv to 3 consecutive Israeli youth state championships. And then, at just 19, he became the youngest player in history to win the Israeli Basketball Premier League MVP award. He wasn't just the best young player in the country, he was rewriting the record books before most players his age had even figured out what they were doing. The rest of the world was watching, and that brought him to number 17. Number 17, he won NBA All-Star Weekend MVP. Before playing a single NBA game in February 2019, Deni Avdija showed up to NBA All-Star Weekend in Charlotte for the Basketball Without Borders Global Camp.
Getting his first NBA All-Star selection, it's Deni Avdija.
Yes.
Welcome.
That's your guy, man. We said it. We talked.
Players came from all over the world. He walked away with the MVP of the entire camp. NBA scouts were in the building. The conversation around him started shifting from European prospect to legitimate lottery pick. But what actually happened on draft night is where the story takes its first real turn. Number 16, he got passed over on draft night. Before the 2020 NBA draft, the consensus was clear. Deni Avdija was a top 5 talent. And then draft night came, and he started to slide. Pick 5, pick 6, pick 7, pick 8. The Washington Wizards finally called his name at 9.
With the 9th pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Deni Avdija.
4 spots lower than where most people had him. A lot of players never fully recover from that kind of night. Deni held on to it, and he made every team that passed on him regret it. But before any of that could happen, he had an obligation most NBA players never face. Number 15. He served in the military. In Israel, military service is mandatory, no exceptions. Deni Avdija officially enlisted in the Israel Defense Forces around the time of the 2020 draft. Because of his status as an elite athlete, he served in a non-combat role while training for the NBA in North America. But the point stands. He went from IDF soldier to NBA player in the same year. That kind of transition requires a level of discipline and focus that is difficult to put into words. What was waiting for him in Washington tested that discipline even further. Number 14. His 4 years in Washington were a test of character. 4 seasons in Washington, under 10 points a game, a season-ending ankle fracture in his rookie year, one of the worst rosters in the league. No spotlight, no recognition, and a growing number of people questioning whether the 9th pick was worth it. What most people missed during those 4 years was that Deni was getting better every single season, quietly building towards something. The moment his situation changed, everything came with it. And the conversation that triggered it is simpler than you'd expect. Number 13. One conversation with his coach unlocked everything. When Deni arrived in Portland, he was still finding his footing, coming off the bench, averaging around 11 points in his first 20 games. And then coach Chauncey Billups pulled him aside and said something straightforward. When you get that rebound, it's your time. Push it. Go. That was it. One sentence. And from that point on, Deni Avdija became a different player. The numbers that followed made the whole league take notice. Number 12. His numbers this season are historically good. 24 points, 7 rebounds, 6.6 assists per game, shooting 46% from the field. Analysts are putting his name alongside Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in conversations about the best players in the league. This is the same player Washington couldn't get 10 points a night out of, the same player who fell to pick 9. The transformation is real, and the numbers back it up completely. But the numbers are only part of what makes this season significant. Number 11. He became Israel's all-time leading NBA scorer. During a game against the Detroit Pistons, Deni dropped 35 points and passed Omri Caspi to become the all-time leading NBA scorer in Israeli history. What makes that meaningful beyond the record is who Omri Caspi was. He was the first Israeli player to ever play in the NBA, the man who opened the door. Deni didn't just walk through it, he became the greatest to ever come through it. We are entering the top 10 now. Number 10. He received more All-Star votes than LeBron James. When the fan voting came in for the 2026 NBA All-Star Game, Deni Avdija had over 2.2 million votes. That total was higher than LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden. A 25-year-old from Israel outvoted the most recognizable basketball player on the planet. What that vote actually led to is something no player from his country had ever done before. Number 9. He made history as the first Israeli NBA All-Star. In the entire history of the NBA, not one player from Israel had ever been named to the All-Star game. Deni Avdija became the first. Millions of Israelis stayed up through the night to watch him play. The president of Israel reached out. The prime minister reached out. He was no longer just a basketball player at that point. He was a symbol for an entire country. But who that person actually is, where he really comes from, is something most people still don't fully understand. Number 8. His background is unlike almost anyone in the league. Deni's mother is an Israeli Jewish woman who grew up on a kibbutz. His father, Zufer, is of Gorani heritage from Serbia and is Muslim. He grew up in a household with both Jewish and Muslim traditions under one roof in Israel. He has spoken openly about identifying as Jewish while embracing both sides of his heritage. In a sport where identity is often flattened into a single narrative, Deni's story refuses to be simplified. But that identity has also made him a target. Number 7. He has carried pressure most players will never understand. Being the most visible Israeli athlete on the planet is not a comfortable position. After the Israeli Prime Minister publicly congratulated Deni for making the All-Star game, the online response was intense. Thousands of hostile messages. Criticism tied directly to his nationality and his military service. Through all of it, his answer has been consistent. He is a basketball player. He asks to be judged as one. The composure he has shown under that kind of weight is something worth paying attention to. Number 6. He built a business around his nickname. They call him Turbo on the court. Deni Avdija took that nickname and launched an ice cream brand called Turbo in Israel, with plans to bring it to the United States. He is 25 years old. He is the most famous athlete in his country's history, and he is already thinking about what comes after basketball. That kind of awareness at his age is uncommon. But number 5 is where you see what he actually stands for. Number 5. He used his shoes to speak for his people. On Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day, while playing for the Washington Wizards, Deni Avdija wrote the word Yizkor on his shoes in Hebrew. It means, will remember. On another occasion, he wrote Am Yisrael Chai and drew stars of David on them. He did this in the middle of an NBA game, on national television, with no announcement and no press release. He simply wanted his people to know he had not forgotten them. That is not something you are told to do. That comes from somewhere deeper.
A lot of people will be covering this game tonight, Kev. Big Cup game.
Number 4. He is quietly dismantling every stereotype about European players. The knock on European players in the NBA has always been the same. Too soft, can't handle the physicality. role players at best. Deni Avdija is playing through that narrative every single night. He is drawing fouls at the 4th highest rate in the entire league. He is attacking the rim against anyone. He is making plays in the 4th quarter. He is not just a good European player.
So right here, look at the ball movement. Deni giving it up. Back to Tristan, back to him. And
he is becoming one of the best players in the NBA, regardless of where he comes from. That distinction matters. Number 3, he was a legitimate soccer prospect before basketball. Before basketball took over, Deni Avdija was good enough at soccer that it was a real path. He played until a childhood friend pointed at his height and redirected him. That one moment is the reason any of this exists. One kid making one observation at the right time. The alternate version of this story, where Deni never gets that conversation, is a version where none of what we just covered ever happens. The margin between those two timelines is smaller than most people realize. Number 2, he was written off and became a star anyway. Most players who fall on draft night carry that with them for the rest of their career. The doubt compounds. The pressure builds. Deni Avdija took 4 years of anonymity in Washington, a serious injury, a trade to Portland that nobody expected to change anything, one honest conversation with a coach, and turned it into an all-star season averaging 24 points a game. The player that 9 teams passed on became the best player on his team. That does not happen often, and it sets up the only fact that actually matters. Number 1. 9 million people see themselves in him. When Deni Avdija walked onto that all-star court, millions of people in Israel stayed up through the night to watch. The president reached out. The prime minister reached out. Sports officials in Israel are saying he may be the greatest athlete in the country's history, across every sport, not just basketball. 9 million people in a country going through one of the most difficult periods in its modern history watched this man and felt something. A kid who almost played soccer, who fell on draft night, who spent 4 years invisible, who served in the military and still showed up, who wrote his people's words on his shoes in the middle of an NBA game. That is the full picture, and that is Deni Avdija.